my name's Hannah.
And I'm Ashley.
And welcome to Young Life's Choose Your Own Adventure.
We're going to be your adventure guides.
And we're really excited to go on an adventure with you. Where should we go first?
I think we should go on an airplane because I actually have my sleep mask and my neck pillow.
All right, let's go. Oh no, what are we gonna do now? All of our flights were just canceled.
I have an idea.
Road trip, windows down, music blaring, shotgun. Road trip. Whoa. Oh no, our car broke down. What do we do now?
Well, I guess we could just jump to get where we need to go.
All right, let's do it.
Wow, we clean up pretty nice.
Yeah, we look pretty good. Well, you guys, welcome to Young Life's Choose Your Own Adventure.
So we may not have been the best adventure guides, but we have a really awesome show for you tonight.
Yeah, we're really excited for you guys to hear more about Young Life, so let's get on with the show. What's an adventure you want to go on with your Young Life leader?
I want to go on a good road trip.
Paintballing. That would be good.
Rock Ridge.
Wild Play, the high ropes course.
Our camp and all the final clubs that we're going to be having, and just like figuring out graduation, and even after that of like, because that's a huge adventure on its own.
Then you go, because I'm gonna practice my body.
I would want to try out Young Life Camp because I've never been before, or try out like a real road trip with them because I feel like that'd be fun.
I want to go surfing in Malibu, California.
I love to go on Skytrain adventures, and elevator up to Skytrain stations is one of them. And this is an elevator that is almost like it, and guess what? It's a similar elevator.
I'm looking forward to either fishing, bowling, or another movie night with Capernaum.
We go to Rock Ridge Canyon to go tubing.
Tim Hortons!
A Wii Sports tournament.
Forward to Rock Ridge Canyon. I honestly cannot wait for the summer.
And what's an adventure you want to go on with Jesus?
Rock Ridge Canyon.
Learn how to invite my friends with him.
With Jesus, it would be awesome to explore different parts of the world, to like spread the gospel to like less fortunate countries and like less fortunate people and situations, and it'd be awesome to see like how Jesus is active in different parts of like communities.
Something I really want to experience in my relationship with Jesus is either a youth group or a youth retreat. I really like these things, like helping people with assistance and stuff, because like examples like volunteer opportunities, helping with little kids on the spectrum, because I'm a really good representative for them, and yeah. It just shows that putting others before you is a major way of serving Jesus, because you are putting their needs before yours.
I think I want to have him so that he's in every aspect of my life.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike O'Leary, and this is my wife Carol. And we served as the president of Young Life of Canada for almost 9 years. And I am pleased to be able to tell you a little bit about Young Life today. So if you've never heard of Young Life, we're a mission of the Kingdom of God, a parachurch organization not affiliated with any denomination, but affiliated with many different denominations in terms of the local support that we get from churches all across Canada. I have the privilege of talking about Young Life and have for many, many years, so I want to tell you in a brief way what Young Life is about. It's unique because it has two things, and that's all it is about it. In Young Life, we have a unique way of thinking about teenagers, and we have a unique way of talking about Jesus Christ. Now, I could go on for an hour about both of those things, but I want you to know that that unique way of thinking about teenagers is we think they're the most incredible things that ever came. We believe that they are so exciting and they are the most important things. And all of our staff and volunteers treat them like rock stars until we get the chance to show them and tell them the second part, which is that Jesus Christ is God's Son and the Savior of the world. But that isn't always said in words. It's about 90% of that is said with individual lives. So we have those two things that are what makes Young Life unique. Now, the interesting thing is I had the privilege every year of watching 5 buses of kids unload in one spot at Rockridge Canyon every summer, and they'd run up the steps. And as these buses are pouring out kids, 300 of them at times, I had an opportunity to think a certain thing, and it comes from the book of Amos. And Amos says, "Thus saith the Lord, in those days a famine will come upon the land, but not a famine where people hunger or thirst for food or water, but a famine where they hunger for the word from the Lord." And I feel like today high school kids are in a tremendous famine. And as they would run up the steps, I would change my view of what they were. Instead of rambunctious kids who'd been on a bus for 4 or 5 hours, I'd think about them as if they were starving. And I'd see their bulging eyes and their bloated bellies. And I'd see them as I think God sees them spiritually, is they don't know who Jesus Christ is. They don't know that there's grace, that they don't know that there's mercy. They don't know that there's a hope for the future. They don't know if anyone really cares about them. And they hunger and thirst for these things. And Young Life is a group of people, many hundreds and thousands of people, donors, 7,500 donors across Canada are giving so that we can send people out into the high school and junior high community to tell them the good news about Jesus Christ, to satiate that hunger that they have to know if they're loved and if they're forgiven and if there's a hope and a future. So that's what we do in Young Life, and we do that in a relational way, which means that nothing really happens without men and women going into the high school community and living their lives out, making friends, being available, and spending lots and lots of time with kids.
Hi, my name is Leanne. I've been volunteering with the North Surrey Club for a while, and this year I'm honored to be a part of the Staff Associate program. This year has been challenging. However, we've been continuing our relationships with kids and running day camps through the summer and connecting with them one-on-one. However, there are some challenging realities that are quite unique for the North Surrey area. A lot of our youth come from rough backgrounds and just need a place to belong. The challenge that we face is the need for resources and additional leaders. We need these in order to build consistency in our kids' lives. The opportunity is we have a really great relationship with the school already. I've been able to coach girls basketball for the past few years. Recently, I had a one-on-one with one of my girls and dropped them off at the mall. I didn't think too much about it. I left the mall and suddenly I got this random phone call. Didn't know who it was. I answered it and it ended up being a girl that I coached 2 years ago, asking me if I was just at the McDonald's inside the mall. I was like, yeah, okay. She then invited me back into the mall and to hang out with her friends. This girl who I coached 2 years ago remembered who I was, had my number still in her phone, and called me to come and hang out with them. It's stories like this that encourages me to show up. It demonstrates the power of consistency. Let's hear from kids who have been involved with Young Life.
So my name is Evan. I first heard about Young Life from my volleyball coach at the time, who ended up being my leader. He invited us out to some of the events, and that's how I first heard about it, Young Life. My first impression of Young Life is just, I guess, family. Everyone just felt like they cared about me, and it was also just a really fun place to be, so yeah. If I had to describe what Young Life includes, it'd just be a little bit about Jesus, I guess, and then a lot of fun. So lots of games and activities and events, and yeah, just a fun place to be. Usually at the end of club there's talks. I always find that they're relevant. They're kind of more towards teenagers as opposed to what you hear on a normal Sunday service, which is kind of can feel like way above. So my faith background, I grew up in a really strong Christian family. So my whole life, faith has been something that's kind of been taught to me, but never really forced on me. I think the experience that sticks with me the most is the opportunity to invite my non-Christian friends out and just kind of share with them the faith that I have, and then seeing the changes that's being made in their lives. Small actions, just like how they act to other people in my school, like seeing how much kinder they are, just the small things, I guess. Most of my friends, their exposure to faith has been limited before Young Life, and this has kind of like opened the doors to them. Young Life is just a great place to come on Tuesday nights. we do lots of games and activities, and we just kind of feel at home there, I guess. Come hang out. Yeah, it's just a fun place.
Hi, I'm Cambria. I got involved during COVID when one of my friends invited me out to go get bubble tea with Julie, my Young Life leader. And I didn't really know what Young Life was. I'd had no previous experience with it. And where I lived before didn't have any Young Life there. So it was totally new to me. But it was really cool because we would go out during COVID and have food and we would talk, and it was really nice to have support in a community in a time where everything was closed down. Couldn't really go to people's houses. We didn't have sports anymore. School was weird, and that was very hard. So Young Life it was really fun and felt very safe to go there, and that was very nice. And then later we had the opportunity to go to Malibu. And that was my first experience with club, which I had no idea what that was. I was always very confused when I would hear people talk about it, because they talked about it like all these people, and I just thought we went to restaurants. I thought that's what club was. But then when I did get to experience it, it was a ton of fun. We got to do a lot of singing and games, and I loved that. And then we also, Julie related some Bible stories to a movie, Black Widow, which we had all gone and seen earlier. And that was really eye-opening for me, and I felt like I learned a lot from that. A lot more than I ever have, because I'd heard some of the Bible stories before from my family when I was younger, but it never made sense to me. The concepts were from this time long ago, and a lot of the references I didn't understand, but then when she related it to the movie, it made a lot more sense. And I felt like I got a lot out of it, and I really enjoyed it. So through Young Life, I've kind of learned that God is always there and always willing to have a relationship with you if you want to reach out. And if you don't want one at the time, he'll wait. He doesn't want to push that on you. He's there when you need him, and he'll always be there. And recently, there's been a tough thing that happened at my school. We lost somebody, and I've been talking to him, and I do that, I've done that throughout my life, but it's been a lot more meaningful that I kind of understand it more. And it's been very comforting. Through Young Life, I've learned that he always wants a relationship with you, and that God is always there to listen. And it's very comforting to just be able to at night just kind of talk to him. What I do is sometimes if I'm going through a tough time, just when I'm alone, I'll just speak out loud to him. And it's nice because you can kind of give your problems out to him, and he can help you with them and guide you through that. And then it takes some of the pressure off of you, and in that you're not alone, and there's somebody there always, no matter where you are or what you're doing. There's somebody there, and he's going to help you, and he's not going to judge you. He's just there to be there for you, and he wants what's best for you. Yeah. Young Life has provided a lot of consistency. Julie is there for us all the time. She comes and gets us at lunch to go get Tim Hortons. She'll come take us after school. We go out for coffee, we go shopping, and it's provided a consistency that's really important, especially when we're teenagers and everything else is so uncertain in our lives. We always know that Young Life, and that especially Julie, is going to be there for us. And that has been really helpful and amazing, especially during COVID, when life is already hard and messy, but in COVID everything is even worse. So having Young Life during that time has been amazing.
Hey, my name is Zach, and
I'm Lauren.
And we've actually been involved in Young Life for over 13 years. First, I first heard about Young Life in high school. I think I was in grade 11. And hearing about this club, to me, I always thought this was this exclusive thing. And I was like, how do I get this invite to this fun party that's going out every Monday night? And eventually, actually, someone invited me. I was so excited to go, and right away it was the best experience ever. Everyone's singing songs, playing games, and it just felt like such an inclusive place right away.
And it was at my house, funny enough. We both didn't grow up in Christian homes, and my sister became a Christian through Young Life about a year before I did. And she asked my parents, who weren't Christians at all, if she could host club at our house. And they thought, oh, this seems like a decent thing. I mean, it's kind of weird that there's an older young adult coming into our house, but it seems like a chill thing. So they let my sister host it at our house. So I wasn't a Christian at that point, but because it was at my house, I ended up going, mostly for the community. There were some cool older girls and guys that I wanted to connect with. And yeah, you happened to stop by.
Yeah, so my first club was at your house, and yeah, just thinking through like the games and songs is all fun. And then, you know, some guy was giving this life talk. I think he mentioned Jesus, but I wasn't really paying attention to that, just looking at cute girls. And then we got invited to this thing, camp at Rock Ridge Canyon, and really that was the first time that I heard the gospel. You know, I never heard about Jesus, never heard about the Bible. I didn't know what this was. I remember my mom accidentally signed me up for this like Christian camp when I was like 12 years old. She apologized to me. She's like, I'm so sorry. So that was my experience of that. But then hearing the gospel for the first time, the fact that Jesus actually built us to be in relationship with him, and that is the only relationship that would really ever satisfy us, that just clicked to me. But what's crazy is I didn't actually make a decision at camp. I was like, I just want to know more about this. So we got to go back, and that's the great thing, is walking in campaigners, walking through these things with our Young Life leaders, and that's really where my faith came to be the fullness of understanding who Jesus is and what it means to walk with him. So.
And I remember before, like, my parents were going through stuff, like my mom struggled with alcoholism, and there was so much of a heavy weight that you carry as a high school student, and having no one to really talk to about those things. Young Life offered that. The leaders were the ones that allowed me to open up about those things. And that's where Jesus really grabbed my heart, and he said, you don't have to hold on to these things. These things are mine, and I've died for them so that you can feel this love. Yeah. And that really changed my life. And it's so beautiful because through campaigners, we were able to grow closer in our relationships with Jesus. Yeah. We became leaders, and we actually got to lead so many kids to come to know that same love that Christ has for them. Yeah. We even hung out last week with one of my Young Life students and went over to her house for dinner. Now she's a Christian, she's married to this amazing guy. Yeah. They both own businesses. Like, it's incredible to see the transformation that God's done in our lives and in people around us lives through Young Life and through this introduction to Jesus, this close community that you get through Young Life in Christ.
It's so cool too, like when we got to become leaders, we were leaders for like 5 years each-ish, and then, you know, bringing kids to church, to campaigners, walking with them, having those relationships. It's been so amazing to see how God's worked all across Surrey through so many years, because now, you know, it's been 13 years since we first got involved. We've been married for 6 years. Now, I get the privilege to pastor at a church, and you get privilege to be a teacher in Surrey, and it's just kind of like full circle of like, we're still involved. But what God is doing all across Surrey, and to really see like, what would it look like for Young Life to be in every single school in Surrey, just the magnitude of how big God is. It's just a crazy vision. And that, yeah. It
gets me emotional because as a teacher in Surrey, I see so many kids that need the Lord so bad, that come from really rough backgrounds. And the beauty of Christ and the love that he has for them is like something shown through a Young Life leader to somebody tangibly is something that I don't think they get anywhere. They don't understand in any other format. So I think like even my school that I'm at right now, like how beautiful would it be if that school, if every school in Surrey had these beautiful Young Life leaders coming in and not just sharing the gospel, but living the gospel of Jesus. And that's what we experienced. Yeah. And it's so beautiful that that's what these kids that are growing up will get to experience through Young Life, and even get to experience through us now that we have been changed by Jesus through Young Life. As a teacher now and as a pastor, we can still be those people, but the organization of Young Life is incredible for the work that it's done in our lives and the potential work that Jesus is going to do through this organization in Surrey and Langley and in the areas around us.
Yeah, so cool there. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about us and how we've been so impacted by Young Life, and excited to see what God's going to continue to do through Young Life in Surrey and beyond.
There's just nothing better than hearing the stories of what Jesus can do in the life of a teenager. And you get to be a part of that. We're not asking everybody to be a volunteer leader or everyone to go on Young Life staff, but all of you can be involved financially. You can give a portion of what is needed for the overall budget. You can help us reach the particular goals that we set for this fundraising event's budget. You can help us by giving monthly in a pre-approved monthly donation. You can do that with credit cards, writing a check, making a commitment to your staff person or the host of your event tonight. But what we want you to do is consider very seriously the eternal investment that you're making to change the lives of so many teenagers, just like mine was changed 50 years ago. So please take the time to consider your financial gift carefully and let us know. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer, and we can't wait to include you in the follow-up to the exciting things that the Holy Spirit will do in the lives of teenagers in our area.
Wow, what a night.
Now that was one adventure that I'm glad to be a part of.
We're so thrilled that you guys could join us virtually wherever you are and hear a little bit more about Young Life.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, you guys.